All right, welcome in everyone to the deep dive. We're going to be looking today at something pretty critical in the world of modern facility management. S- Staying on top of things, keeping track of all your spaces and assets and how it all works together.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially these days when facilities are becoming more complex, more interconnected.
Computer-aided facilities management.
It's about having the tools to make informed decisions, to really understand your facilities inside and out.
We're going to zero in on a software solution, one that seems to be making some waves, especially for its practicality and ease of use.
It definitely caught my eye. It's called IDN, and it comes from a company called Infrastructure.net Software Corp. They've been around since 2008, but their team's experience in facilities management goes all the way back to the 1990s.
That's a pretty solid foundation. So what makes IDN stand out in the crowded CAFM market? What are the big selling points?
A few things jump out right away. First, they really hammer home the ease of use. It's designed to be intuitive, user-friendly, accessible to everyone on your team, not just the tech-savvy folks.
That's huge because a lot of these systems can be intimidating for people who aren't super comfortable with software.
Absolutely. Then there's the emphasis on modern mobile capabilities, essential in today's world, right? People need to be able to access this information and manage things from wherever they are. Tablets, smartphones, you name it.
Yeah. Who's tied to a desktop anymore?
Exactly. Another interesting point is the compatibility with source drawings from other IWMS systems, those integrated workplace management systems. It looks like they've really thought about how to make that integration process smooth and painless, which can be a big headache for a lot of organizations.
And finally, the affordability. They seem pretty proud of that.
Remarkably affordable. So our mission today is to really peel back the layers on IDN, see how these claims actually play out in the real world, how it could benefit you.
Okay, let's start with that first point, ease of use. Everyone's looking for intuitive software these days. What does IDN do to make sure the interface isn't a barrier to entry?
They talk about a consistent design, a thoughtful use of color to guide the eye, big, clear buttons that are easy to click. They also have little text tips that pop up if you need more information, even friendly icons to make things more approachable. It's like they've really considered the user experience at every step. And that's huge because you don't want to spend weeks training people just to use the basic features.
Yeah, the more intuitive it is, the faster people can get up to speed and actually start using it effectively.
Exactly. And it's not a one-size-fits-all approach either. There's a lot of room for customization.
Oh, that's good. So you can tailor it to how you actually work.
Yes. They have these customizable dashboards. So once the administrator sets up the initial framework, individual users can rearrange the elements, change colors, add widgets for key performance indicators.
Those are the metrics you really care about.
Exactly. And they can even create shortcuts to the parts of the system they use most frequently. Makes things much more efficient.
Now, something that really caught my eye was the built-in comment and discussion threads. You can link them directly to buildings and floors within the application.
Oh, yeah. It's a great feature for collaboration, right?
Yeah. Instead of endless email chains about a leaky faucet on the third floor or whatever, you have a dedicated space for those conversations right within the CAFM system itself.
And all tied directly to the relevant building or floor. Keeps everything organized. You can attach comments, start discussion threads, make sure everyone's on the same page. No more digging through email archives.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, let's talk about something that can be a real pain point, especially when you're dealing with large floor plans. I know I've struggled with viewing those effectively in the past. What's IDN's approach there?
They've actually put a lot of thought into this. The system lets you print floor plans as vector-based PDFs.
That means they retain their detail and clarity no matter how much you zoom in or out.
Exactly. So you can really drill down into specific areas, see the fine details without losing any resolution. You can also combine those individual floor plan PDFs into multi-page documents. So you can essentially create a portfolio of floor plans for an entire group of buildings.
Oh, that's smart. So you have a single comprehensive document for each facility?
Exactly. And they've even got the ability to add professional-looking title blocks. They support a wide range of paper sizes too, so you have a lot of flexibility.
Okay, so they've clearly put some effort into making those floor plans easy to work with. Now, let's talk about mobility. Everyone's on the go these days. How does IDN accommodate that? Yeah.
The dashboards, the floor plans, the reports, they're all accessible on modern mobile devices.
So it's not just about having a desktop version. You can take IDN with you on your tablet or smartphone and still have a seamless experience.
If you're out in the field doing inspections, or managing maintenance, you need to be able to access this information on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that can be particularly important for larger organizations or those with more complex facilities. IDN can handle huge drawings. What does that actually mean, and why is it significant?
This is something they seem to be quite proud of. It's a key differentiator. They specifically highlight the ability to manage very large and complex CAD drawings. So think about sprawling university campuses, hospital networks, or manufacturing facilities with tons of intricate details in the floor plans. Being able to efficiently handle and visualize those massive drawings is crucial.
And I imagine a lot of other CAFM systems struggle with that.
Many other vendors can't handle the sheer size and complexity of those drawings.
But it's not just about being able to display them, is it? There's a drawing impact tool that helps optimize performance. What's that all about?
Right, this is a really cool feature. So within the administrative tools of IDN, there's this tool that allows you to analyze your DWG files. It basically looks at the internal structure of the drawings.
So like the different layers and blocks that make them up.
Exactly. And it tries to identify potential bottlenecks that could slow down performance. So by understanding how many draw operations each layer and block requires, administrators can pinpoint those elements that might be causing delays and then optimize the drawings.
So it's like a tune-up for your digital blueprints.
Exactly. It might involve simplifying complex blocks or turning off layers that aren't essential for the CAFM functions. That way, everything loads faster and runs more smoothly.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about the connection between those drawings and the actual data about your facilities. The rooms, the equipment, all that good stuff. How does IDN handle that?
It's all about data linking and integration. They have methods for linking those CAD entities directly to the corresponding space records in the database.
So you're creating a bridge between the visual representation on the drawing and the underlying data about that space.
Exactly. And they use unique identifiers and attributes for each element to make those connections. The goal is to automate this linking process as much as possible, reduce manual effort, and ensure the ongoing integrity of that data.
So it's not just about having a pretty picture. It's about having a live, interactive interface to your facility information.
Exactly. Click on a room in the drawing, and you can instantly access all the relevant data about that space.
All right, let's move on to something that's always top of mind, affordability. And is remarkably affordable, which is a pretty bold claim.
It's a major selling point.
Yeah.
And it's not just marketing fluff,
It's about providing value for the money.
making it accessible to a wider range of organizations. And there's flexible licensing options based on total square footage. So it sounds like they have a scalable approach that can accommodate different needs and budgets.
Okay, let's get into some of the core functionalities of IDN, things you'd be using day to day, starting with space management. Adding new floors to a building, that seems pretty fundamental. How straightforward is that process?
It's designed to be pretty simple. You go to the main building page, and there's a new floor button in the floors section. Click on that, and it brings up a form.
What do you need to enter there?
A floor code, which they recommend keeping as a numeric identifier or a short 2-character abbreviation if possible, and then the full name of the floor. They've even built in some intelligence there, so if you enter a numeric code, the system tries to suggest a floor name, like floor 3 or something like that.
Because you can override it if you need to, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can always enter your own custom name. Once you're happy with the code and name, just hit save, and the new floor is added to the system.
Easy peasy. What about assigning personnel to their workspaces? Another pretty common task. How does IDN handle that?
They have a really nice visual approach for this using the floor plan view. So you start from the main space dashboard, go to assign seating, select your building and floor, and then you see the floor plan laid out. There's a personnel list, and you can simply drag and drop an individual's name onto their assigned workspace on the floor plan.
Oh, that's nice and intuitive.
And as you assign people, the personnel list updates dynamically, so you can see who's been assigned and who's still available. And the floor plan itself changes visually by changing the color of the space or displaying the assigned person's name within it.
So you have instant visual confirmation of who's sitting where. Very cool.
And they have occupancy status legend right next to the floor plan, which updates in real time as well, giving you a quick overview of the occupancy for that floor.
All right, let's talk about reporting and analytics. Data is only useful if you can actually make sense of it. A good range of pre-made reports.
You access straight from the building summary page. There's a reporting button, usually with a printer icon, at the top of the details section for each building. Click on that, and it takes you to a comprehensive list of reports.
What kind of reports are we talking about here?
They generally fall into two main categories: formatted reports and tabular reports. The formatted reports are typically PDFs and can include things like charts, graphs, floor plans with highlighted data, basically anything you can do visually to present the information.
So those are good for like high-level overviews and presentations.
Exactly. And then the tabular reports are more like spreadsheets. They present the raw data in a structured format, and you can view them within the IDN interface or download them for use in Excel.
So you have options for both visually appealing summaries and the raw data for deeper analysis.
And there are a lot of options for how you view and work with those reports within IDN. You have all the standard PDF tools,
Mhm.
printing, downloading, zoom control. And for tabular reports, you can download the data as a spreadsheet. But even within the IDN interface, you have some powerful tools for working with that data.
Such as?
Each column header usually have a little menu you can click on. And that menu gives you options to sort the data, filter it, even group it based on values in that column. So you can do some pretty sophisticated ad hoc analysis right within IDN.
That's pretty slick. Now, something that's always important when managing data is the ability to track changes and maintain data integrity. Does IDN have audit trail capabilities?
Yes, it does. It keeps a detailed log of who's made changes, what exactly was changed, and when it happened. So you have a complete historical record of your data.
That's crucial for compliance and troubleshooting. What happens if you accidentally delete something?
IDN uses a soft delete approach. So instead of permanently erasing records, they're just marked as deleted. You can still recover them if you need to.
Ooh, that's a nice safety net to have. All right, let's talk about user permissions and security. How does IDN manage who can access and modify information?
They use a role-based access control system. So each user account is assigned to a specific role, and that role determines their permissions within the system.
What kind of roles are there?
They have predefined roles like casual, read-only, simple edit, and full edit. You can imagine what each of those entails.
Yeah, so you can fine-tune the level of access each user has based on their responsibilities. How does an administrator actually go about creating new user accounts and assigning those roles?
It's all done through the administrative dashboard. You navigate to the users section, typically under security or system administration, and there's an option to create a new user. You enter the basic information: first name, last name, email address, and the email often serves as the user ID. Then you set a password for the new user, and most importantly, assign them to the appropriate security groups or roles.
So it's a pretty straightforward process, but it gives you a lot of control over who can do what within the system. And I'm guessing there's a separate administrator role that has like full access to everything. You don't want to be handing out those keys to the kingdom too freely. All right, what about support and training? What kind of resources are available to IDN users?
They have a comprehensive approach. They offer online training programs, including instructor-led sessions that focus on specific tasks and workflows. And these sessions are usually recorded, so you can go back and review them later.
So it's not just a one-time thing. You have ongoing access to those training materials.
Exactly. They also offer tailored training for administrators, and administrators have direct access to technical support.
That's important. What kind of response times do they offer for support inquiries?
They have rapid turnaround times, often within hours or a couple of days, depending on the complexity.
That's good to hear. Is there anything else? Self-service options or built-in support resources?
Yeah, they have a built-in knowledge base that you can access right within the IDN application. It's got all sorts of instructions, guides, video tutorials, and it's searchable, so you can quickly find what you need.
Sounds handy. Anything else?
They also typically provide a sandbox environment, which is basically a copy of your production database, but it's for training and testing. So you can practice using the system, try out new features, even plan complex scenarios like big moves without affecting your live data.
Oh, that's a great idea. A safe space to experiment and learn. Now let's talk about data uploads. Getting your existing data into the system efficiently is crucial. What can you expect in that regard?
They have made this as user-friendly as possible. For basic data uploads, you can often just drag and drop Excel files right into the system. But for administrators handling larger, more complex data sets, there's a more powerful tool set.
What kind of features does that toolset include?
You can map columns in your data files to the corresponding fields in IDN. You can handle duplicate records. It even highlights potential errors or inconsistencies so you can fix them before you import the data.
So it's not just about dumping data in, there are safeguards to ensure the quality and integrity of that data.
Exactly. It's a robust system that can handle a lot of different scenarios.
Okay, what about searching for information with IDN? I imagine that's something you'd be doing pretty frequently. What kind of search functionalities are there?
They have a really convenient find a person feature. So you can quickly locate any individual in the system and see their assigned seating on the floor plan. And they have a find a space feature as well.
So if you need to find a specific room or piece of equipment, you can just search for it.
Yeah. And it shows you the details for that space and its exact location on the floor plan.
So it answers those common questions like, where's John's desk? Or what's in room 205?
Exactly. Makes it very easy to navigate and find what you need. And finally, they have a built-in form for submitting feature requests.
Oh, that's good. So if you encounter a problem or have a great idea for a new feature, you can easily let them know.
Exactly. You can categorize it as a bug or a feature suggestion, provide a detailed description, even attach screenshots or other files. Then they'd send you a confirmation email and follow up when your request has been addressed.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Let's zoom out and bring it all together for you. It sounds like IDN is a comprehensive and well thought out CAFM solution. They've really focused on ease of use, mobile accessibility, compatibility with complex drawings, affordability, and a robust set of core features to manage your facilities effectively.
Absolutely. And what I find particularly compelling is the emphasis on making it accessible to everyone, not just the technical experts. The intuitive interface, the visual tools, the focus on streamlined workflows, it all points to a system that's designed to empower users and make their lives easier.
So for our listeners out there who need a system that can handle complex drawings, integrate smoothly with your existing systems, and provide a strong return on investment, IDN seems like a strong contender worth exploring.
And it raises an interesting question. How could a system like this not only transform your day-to-day facility management, but also enhance your organization's overall efficiency and strategic decision-making capabilities, turning all that complex facility data into actionable insights that can drive real improvements?
Yeah, food for thought. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.